Welcome everyone to the very first video for NASCAR 21. And in today's video, I want to draw your attention to a recent article on the IGN site by Luke Riley. I'll put a link in the description down below. And by the way, before we even get started, I highly recommend checking out the article, not only to read through a lot of the comments and quotes from the developers and motorsport games in general, but also to click on the screenshots. So you can view them full screen. I cannot do them justice here in the video, so I highly recommend clicking on the screenshots, viewing the full screen, and getting a better idea of exactly what the new game has to offer. So how did we get here this year? NASCAR Heat 5 was the continuation of the NASCAR Heat franchise, but we're not getting NASCAR Heat 6 this year. Instead, we're getting NASCAR 21, a complete departure, a brand new entity, a brand new franchise within motorsport games. Now, those of you who might not be familiar with motorsport games, they are huge into esports. In fact, in 2020, when COVID was running across the world, they were able to put on a very successful Le Mans race. So this is no doubt going to be a focus for the NASCAR franchise moving forward. And I'm very excited to see what they have to offer, even though esports is not something I'm generally been involved with at a large level. I really think that the esports can serve as a flagship and bring in a lot of resources and a lot of new players to the product. And of course, more players means more revenue, which means more resources toward the NASCAR franchise in the future. Also, something huge that happened in motorsport games within the last several months is their acquisition of Studio 397. 397 owns rFactor 2, as well as, of course, the game engine, and most importantly, the physics that come with that. Because the rFactor physics are something I have a lot of experience with from the past, doing mods. So the fact that we're getting rFactor 2 physics in the new NASCAR franchise is very exciting for me. But it goes beyond that. The NASCAR Heat franchise was built in the Unity game engine, which has definitely a lot of good points, but it also has some restrictions. Now, Unreal Engine will be handling the graphic side of things, and then the rFactor 2 game engine will be providing the physics. So a lot to be excited about here. And if you want to get a little bit of an idea about what Unreal Engine has in store for us, I highly recommend the screenshots. So a couple of other things that they emphasize within this article is, number one, customization. As we get a little farther down, you're going to notice a lot of talk about customization. We've had some sort of a paint booth for a while in the Heat franchise. However, it was very, very limited, especially when compared to AAA titles and other racing games at the level of customization you had available to you there. Now we're going to get something well beyond what we had in the NASCAR Heat franchise. And again, that's something that they talk about in more detail within the article. And of course, you can see some of the screenshots that are going to give you a glimpse into what is in store. Also, toward the end of the article, something that they really talk about that is important about the NASCAR the reboot for them, the brand new franchise, is that since the acquisition of Studio 397 and the rFactor 2 game engine, this will be the very first game that they've released. And that means that a lot of their other franchises are going to be looking at this. What can we expect from our game whenever you get a little bit further down the line? Other titles and franchises that they're going to be bringing to us will be things such as the BTCC. Of course, they've done Le Mans. They've done some Formula type racing. There's a lot coming down the pipe from motorsport games, but NASCAR 21 will be the first release. And they talk about just how much resources, how much money and time and development has gone into this game, because it really is going to be a billboard for them. This is what we can create. This is the future under motorsport games, and it's going to give us something to be excited about, or at least that's the hope. It's certainly the hope for me, and I would imagine it's the hope for a lot of NASCAR fans who are really hoping that we can take a huge leap forward from the NASCAR Heat franchise, both in terms of graphics as well as the look and feel through the physics. Now, the one thing, of course, that we're not getting from this article is if you scroll down to the bottom, you see that there is no release date that has been confirmed as of yet. The one part of that was really telling for me, based on my personal expectations, is that it says more details will be revealed in the coming months. Now, personally, I had looked for a release somewhere toward maybe the end of July, beginning middle of August. And based on this statement, it looks like we might have to wait a little bit longer than that. So that's going to do it for today. Again, be sure to check out this very well written article by Luke Riley and IGN and more details for NASCAR 21.